All right, so I've given all the pieces a very good soapy wash, making sure not to have the water too hot, because this is vinyl, and vinyl, when it gets warm, goes soft, and especially small areas like that tongue could warp and change shape. So yeah, he's just drying in his box right now. As I say, I've washed it all, and I've cut bits off. There's tiny little pouring lugs on some of the parts, and you just have to snip them off, but there's no cleanup other than that needed. Yeah, this is a Pegasus kit, and being a Pegasus kit, you can't go wrong putting it together, because you have these lugs like that which match up. There's no way you can put the legs in the wrong way round. All right, and just like the Pegasus War of the Worlds Martians that I've made, you know, the fit is excellent. There's barely any gaps. I think there's just going to be a small gap between the tail and the body. All right, so yeah, he's just drying at the moment, and I'll be gluing him together. Now, this is vinyl, and vinyl you can glue with super glue very, very easily. And I'll be doing that for, like, you know, his little toes, like here, you know, and the mandibles going into his mouth, and, you know, the lower jaw like this. I'll be super gluing them in, but this weighs so much that I'm thinking these legs, because you've got the leg and then you've got the foot. I'm going to use 5-minute epoxy to glue them in, because it's just such a lot of weight, and over time I could see it just giving way. So next step is to get this fella together. That's the mighty Kothoga assembled. As you can see, in places I've had to just putty a few joins, but nothing too bad. With his face, I've put the top jaw on, and I've just push fitted the tongue and the lower jaw in. You can see the fit is really, really good. I mean, you don't really need to glue them in, it's so tight, but I will be attaching them with super glue. So I've pushed those in, but after I've primed it, I'm going to take them off to make painting of the mouth area a lot easier. You can see the 4 mandibles also I've left off. I'll be priming them separately and putting them on at the very end. So there he is. Next step is to prime him in grey, but then I'm going to prime him in white, because his underside is sort of like a tan colour, and his top area is not too dissimilar to this green. But I know from old that if you try putting white primer over quite a strong colour, the colour bleeds through, and I know that might actually benefit for the top half, but maybe not so much for the bottom. So I always put on a coat of grey first, then a coat of white, then I've got a nice bright background to work on. So that's the next 2 steps, and I'll come back. Here we go. Grey primer, then white primer. Say, left the mandibles off for now. So there he goes. That's him. And then for a size comparison, that's the original Revel one. Not that far off, really. So yeah, I'll be back once I've done his fleshy underside.